let's see. At 6 o'clock tonight, Radiothon is done, raising as much money as we possibly can for the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Wisconsin. Thank you to Richard Kessler again from Kessler's Diamonds for the snowflake pendants.
50 snowflake pendants,
Yep.
$180, one-time payment at 855-231-WISH, and you will help us grant Tatum's wish. Now
Tatum's coming at noon. That guy really knows how to sponsor a radiothon, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
We have talked to families who have received wishes. We've talked to young kids who can say, yeah, it was cool. Ian, you're 17.
Hi!
Yeah.
You can kind of tell us, as a wish kid, what the wish did for you and still does for you right now.
At the beginning, when we were trying to decide a wish, it was kind of a way to get out of what was all happening at the time. It was one thing that we knew that we had to look forward to. There wasn't always like good test results to look forward to because those weren't always a positive, but like the wish was always something that we knew was going to happen.
Ian, when did you get diagnosed with osteosarcoma?
It was September of my sophomore year. So,
What was that?
So a couple years ago.
a year and a half.
A year and a half ago. Hi, Mom!
September of 2010.
September of 2010.
All right, so from September 2010 until you're able to have your wish granted, which was in August of this year.
Yeah.
What was that year like for you? Walk us through a typical week.
Well, it depends on what week had, but a lot of weeks it was either going in for chemo or recovering for chemo or getting for the next ready for the next treatment. And it was kind of a never-ending process. There wasn't really downtime. A lot of weeks where it was 4 days of chemo and then you'd go home and you'd be on meds and laid up for the next couple of days, and then the next week would be trying to get strong enough and fight off all the symptoms of chemo to get ready for the next one.
Yes, you could do it again.
Oh.
So you find out that you're going to receive a wish. How long did it take you to come up with what your wish was going to be?
It was a lot of like trying to decide and I really didn't rush it because I knew that it was one thing that I really, really wanted to put a lot of thought into, one thing I really, really wanted to do.
All right.
And what was it?
I wish to go on a Mediterranean cruise.
So where did you go?
We flew into Rome and stayed in Rome for a couple days. And then on the cruise, we went to Sicily, Crete, Athens, Greece, Turkey. Yeah.
Who got to go with you?
Yeah.
It was my family and my girlfriend and my grandma decided to come with us.
Fine. What was the trip like, Mom?
It was incredible.
Casey,
It was
come on.
incredible. It was. So many people ask us what our favorite part is, and for me, it was the trip was incredible, and it was just so wonderful having our whole family together again because that whole year Ian was in treatment, or the 9 months we were not together. I was in the hospital with Ian, or Kurt was, and we just became very disconnected, and that was very difficult.
That's amazing that you said that because that is a word we hear over and over and over. Disconnected is a word that, and sometimes it goes on for years with Wish families. The phone number for our Radiothon is 855-231-WISH, and it's 231-9474. You become a Wish Club member. $15 a month is what we're asking you for.
And right now, with your full payment of $180, if you're one of the first 50 to do that, Richard Kessler will give you a snowflake diamond pendant. It's sterling silver. He sells them at Kessler's for $99.
Right.
He's giving it to you now for $180 at 855-231-WISH, and you're a Wish Club member. You're helping us grant Tatum's wish, who will be in about 35 minutes. We're going to be talking to her.
So, Kay, let me ask you this. Kay, as a mom, when you first heard Ian's diagnosis, what was your first thought? What did you think?
I said it can't be. He was playing football, and he's strong. I mean, you can see he's 6'2", 200 and some pounds, and I said, it can't be. We eat healthy. We do all the right things. It can't be happening to us. And it takes all the wind out of you, and your whole world comes crashing in.
Ian, how are you doing now?
Good. Well, as good as I think I could be, I guess. I feel good, and it's just recovering from surgeries and chemo.
So Kay, you see your son. He's strong. He plays football. And 4 days out of a week now, he's undergoing chemo. The rest of the week is trying to get strong enough to spend 4 more days getting chemo. What does that do to you as a mom?
Well, and he had to actually numerify it. He had 16 chemotherapy treatments as well as 6 surgeries. And 2 of those were very major surgeries, one thoracotomy and the leg reconstruction. And
a leg reconstruction, why?
That's where the tumor was in his leg.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was actually found during a football game. He was injured in a game, and that's how we found it. It hurt.
Really?
Yes.
Thank God for football.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
But it's so hard to watch your child go through that. There's nothing you can do. You hope you're doing the right thing, and that you just try to do the best you can for Ian and the rest of your family, because you have to keep going for your whole family, not just the one who is ill.
What happens when you think back to your wish? Like when you think back, just you have like one memory, Ian, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, it pops in your head. What happens?
I don't know. It's just all the dinners that we got to spend together and all the sights that we got to take in together. Like just standing on the top of the Acropolis, like looking out at Athens, Greece, and thinking, how did I get here?
Right.
And the road really wasn't pleasant, but I don't know. I guess it all worked out in the end.
We talked to a little kid yesterday, Ian, and the question was, what was the happiest time of your life? And that was the wish. And then what was the saddest? We didn't talk to him. We talked to his dad was telling us. What was the saddest part of your life? And he said, when I was 3 and I fell down and I cut my head. And mom and dad started crying and said, well, what about this illness? You know, what about what took you to the wish? And he said, no, without that, I wouldn't have gotten to do my wish. I wouldn't have been able to have that happen. Do you have that same kind of ability to look back on it like that? Or, I mean, it sucks. But do you kind of see?
Yeah, and I kind of thought about that once or twice and thought about, like, it really doesn't justify what happened, but it definitely made it a lot more bearable, knowing that in the end, that's how it turned out.
What would you say to someone who right now is thinking, I'm going to give probably later toward the end of the Radiothon, this Tatum's wish is nice, you know, but now's not the time. I don't want to pull out. I don't want to call right now. I'll do that later. I'm busy at my desk right now. What would you say to them where they're able to actually be responsible for Tatum's wish?
I would say please give, it's so much more than just a wish. It brings you, like, in the hardest of times, it brings you towards something like a brighter future. It's not just the wish itself. It's the planning and the looking forward to it, and like just the moments where you can't think. If you actually thought about what was going on, you'd break down and it'd be so hard to continue, but this brings you back from that and gives you something to look forward to in the future.
Thank you for coming
well
in,
said.
guys. We
Thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
us.
What
Thank
about,
you for doing this.
Oh.
Thank you for everyone who's donating.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, absolutely. 855-231-WISH. Be a part of Tatum's wish in the next 30 minutes. She's coming in at noon. If we reach 50, Luxair will give us $2,000 in matching funds. So please, now is the time to call. 855-231-9474.
That's it.
Thank you, guys.